the essay I wrote was, which is an article that I wrote in the early 1990s, responding to the introduction of feminist thought to colleagues in Central Europe. So like the initial moment. And when I was thinking, that was a response to Ernst Nattau. And Ernst Nattau, who was a great feminist thinker and activist in Central Europe, founder of the Network of East West Women, a really very distinguished person who unfortunately has died too young. But she and I had a debate: democracy versus feminism. Part of our Democracy and Diversity Institute. So we had a debate about the kind of the pursuit of democracy as an end in itself, and the pursuit of gender justice and priorities. And I have to admit that as a student of Hannah Arendt, and I give, and not only that, I think that it's crucial to actually cultivate a space where democratic interactions can occur, even if there are injustices, so that to some extent want to separate the two. And that's not the only thing I think, but that's something that was part of our discussion. And Anne's position was there can't be any democracy without gender justice. The idea of democracy without gender justice is an impossible idea. But as the years have gone by, the cogency and the power of her argument has become, to me, more and more compelling. That history has revealed that her part of the argument, not that it's the only part, sound part, but that we see that in the movement for democracy, if gender justice isn't part of it, gender injustices are major obstacles to the constitution of democratic life. So I'm wondering what you think about that.
I pretty much take Anne's position here.
Right.
I would say one more thing, which I think goes to your last remark, and that is gender injustices are not just injustices for those people who immediately suffer them because they are the ones who are being directly discriminated against.
Right.
They are suffered by the entire society. The kind of approach to pronatalism that the Romanian government took during the communist period, turning women into birthing vessels, it affected them very directly on a daily basis in ways that are really traumatic for years to come. But it affected the whole society. It affected their families. It affected the places where they worked. It affected the ability to have community, to build trust. Democracy is based, I think, primarily on a foundation of trust, that we can trust to be represented by the people that we vote for, that we trust them to understand us, even if they don't look exactly like this. If you are proven that that is not the case again and again and again and again and again, you lose trust in it. And I think that is the core issue that we're really talking about here, right? But also that basically, if you're not able to see beyond your self-interest, this is the other side of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of how you vest yourself in this relationship to the larger community, that if it's not just about you and it's about others around you relationally, then you really have to pay attention to these kinds of social injustices that are based on socially constructed and culturally constructed categories. The notion that, I mean, this is not about, cancel culture. If you're not with me, you're against me. But the notion that if it doesn't affect you, you still want to legislate about, for instance, access to reproductive, control, right? but you're not thinking about the effects that this legislation has on the bodies and the psyches and the development of those people as part of the community, you're not doing your work. You're not doing your work. And it's as simple as that. You know, I think it's still hard to talk in those terms, though. I'll be perfectly honest, with certain generations of people who grew up under communism. I think that's one of the challenges in Eastern Europe. You know, generations that are younger, people who were born, you know, in the 80s and beyond, they have a different relationship with this notion of collective identity or collective trust.
Right.
And that's the hope. I mean, that's where I think there's opportunity.